Louder with Crowder is brought to you in part by .com. You don't have to be a freeloader your whole life. The good news is that you can support this show and the fight by buying some really cool clothes. .com.
That's a good one.
Wow, that does not taste like a fish's sphincter, like yesterday.
Did you figure out what happened?
Yeah. Johnny Boy tried to poison me.
Dang it, almost.
No, this is peppermint tea here, so I'm still running around. PSA for everyone out there, colds are still a thing.
No.
So is the flu. Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't know, well, we're not on YouTube, so who cares? You're more likely to actually have that or like a sinus infection than the COVID.
Oh, that's what
Though it's a pandemic. Did you hear that? We have Dave Lano said, did you hear that? It's a pandemic.
Ahoy.
Yeah. Did you hear it's a pandemic?
The cold?
The COVID.
Oh, I thought it was
It's a pandemic, I hear.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear it was made in a lab, but you're not allowed to say
No,
that.
we're not allowed to say that. We'll say it anyway. We'll get into it a little bit later here today to talk about where it came from and how all of that information was, of course, silenced and people had their livelihoods and their ability to speak removed. But turns out if you follow Fauci, now he says, oopsie, so we're all good. I don't know if I'm becoming jaded, but man, I don't know if there's any coming back. I don't know if there's any coming back from this. I don't know if there's any coming back from everyone silencing people who are, and specifically in the interest of China. So, well, anyway, we'll get into that. We have Gerald Morgan is here today. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. Sometimes I feel better when I'm sick because I feel like it's what I deserve.
That's true.
I feel more me. And we have Dave,
Things
and
are fair.
Tim the Toolman is replacing Quarter Black. Quarter Black gets back tomorrow there, Tokenawan?
Yep, back tomorrow.
Counting down the days.
Big vacation?
No, he went dealing with some family right over there. I think he was in Tennessee. To be, if nature's kind, they'll take him in as one of their own.
Oh, how nice.
It's not going to happen.
So we have a lot to talk about today. We have to talk about John Cena apologizing, groveling for China. We're going to talk about Tim Tebow and white privilege.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Governor Whitmer, not just that she broke her orders recently, but we'll go through all of the times that she's done this.
Oh, yeah.
She really thinks she's an empress. And we'll, of course, be talking about it leaking from a lab. And what else? Oh, anti-Semitic hate crimes. That's a big thing.
Oh, those are on the rise.
Hey, did you know this? Did you know that there was a shooting yesterday?
Where?
Yeah, there was a, well, you know what? We'll get into it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's pretty exciting.
It's almost comical. Okay, but first, this video, we have a kid who's clearly, who's dealt a bad hand in life because he's wearing a soft helmet. Look, just give the kid a hard helmet at this point. Anytime a kid needs a helmet, just skip soft and go for hard. Because we assume if he's wearing a hard helmet, maybe there's some kind of an injury, he plays a sport. Right. Soft helmet, we're going to assume retarded.
Other thing.
Or an old-timey football player.
Right, or an old-timey football player who...
Yeah.
A lot of twitching.
I escaped that.
But luckily, the kid has a really cool mom who takes him to drag queen bars. Kid looks like a little soft-boiled egg.
Coming to you live. This is the first. I've signed a lot.
Is that a drag queen or is that
This is gonna be great.
Is that? Oh no, the hands. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a drag queen.
By the way, that's a head-shaping helmet.
It is?
It is, yes. It's because how can I put this delicately? His lazy mother left him laying down too much.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, you end up with like a flat spot that actually is weighted, so it actually moves it around.
Who would have thought that the lady who takes her kid to drag queen bars is neglectful?
Not the best mom, evidently.
Yeah.
She left him over by the, what's wrong with the kid? I left him in the champagne room too. What the hell is the difference? We have a helmet, it'll sort itself out. When I was little, I was born, I had a full head of jet black hair.
Yeah.
And I had a pointy head. I had a cone head.
Well, that happens.
And I had jaundice. I looked like a little, an alien.
flashlight?
Yes, I looked like an alien who tried to fit in with Native Americans.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I looked like. Oh yes, let's make jerky and scalp because I was hitting a little cone head.
I look like my brother got all the food. He was like a pumpkin, and then I just look like kind of a fetus.
Yeah. Dave comes out looking like Voldemort at the end of Harry Potter.
That's correct.
And the other brother has a scar. You're like, well, listen, I think that it's foretold. We know how this is going to go. So yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of George Floyd's death. By the way, name that movie line. It's his birthday, like his death birthday. I know you know it.
Oh, no.
I do know.
We'll be in the car, yeah, picking each other's butts.
I know.
Naked.
Yes.
It's Lonnie's birthday, like his death birthday. We'll take your chat in a little bit.
I don't
we're
know.
watching
I
on
do
Rumble.
know.
But by the way, I know you're thinking presumptuous, best dad ever, change my mind. No, this is for you. You can go to CrowderShop.com. You can hit that there, Tim the Toolman.
Yeah.
Before Father's Day. This is the last week. So we have
love
best dad ever, change my mind, best mom ever.
Not last week. We have until June 9th.
June 9th.
June.
Oh, okay. Well,
Next week.
way to ruin me way to ruin the sense of urgency.
That's my birthday.
Listen, buy
I'm
it
Johnny
now.
Depp's and Michael J. Fox. Google
Really?
it. I don't care. Yeah.
I don't care.
June 9th.
That's a good gift, though. That's a great gift for a dad. Take it from a dad.
Yeah.
When last year I got a carton of cigarettes and my son said, "Smoke it up, Daddy."
Change it to a box of cigars and it's thoughtful. Isn't it
There you
funny
go,
how
yeah.
that changes?
It
Cigarettes, they want to kill you.
Right.
Cigars, it's like, I got you. So 1 year anniversary of George Floyd's death. And if you watch the means, I was watching CNN all day yesterday.
Why?
I have to. I do it so that you don't have to. Again, all of our sources are available at louderwithcrowder.com from everything we talk about today. They didn't cover this. As far as I saw, once. I don't know that any mainstream outlet covered it once. There was a drive-by shooting at the George Floyd autonomous zone. This happened yesterday.
This bill of comprehensive police reform to be... just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us.
Now, here's the thing. You think that would be worth covering?
Yes.
Because there's so many questions. Did they call the cops? You know,
Oh,
right?
probably
Did they
not.
call the cops? Is this how they honor George Floyd in death as they do in life? Committing crimes?
Oh my gosh.
My point is there are a lot of questions. That would be enough.
Yeah.
That's not even close to the whole story. No, the media didn't cover it at all. We watched this. We saw it live as it was breaking on Twitter. So we'll put up an actual shots fired counter. It goes on for a minute and a half. It's comically long. 30-something rounds are fired. And someone was shot, by the way. They said wasn't critically wounded. Someone was shot, and the media didn't cover this at all. So luckily for us, at least, Cops is coming back with the newly formatted programming, and they've already gotten the right. So now you can see the whole clip. Real in context.
Tonight on No Cops.
This bill of comprehensive police reform to be... just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us. It sounds like gunshots. I'll let you know what this is. These seem to be gunshots.
Get down!
Shit, where is that?
We're okay.
We're just going to go.
Let's go.
Stay tuned for more No Cops.
Wow. Look. 31 shots. And I love how that
so
one
many
guy in his...
shots. If it's your 31st birthday, you just get a 3 and 1 candle. That's how many shots that is.
No, that was several tactical reloads and driving around to new locales to get a better vantage point. And that one guy in this, look, I don't know whether he's an idiot and he should be wearing a soft-boiled helmet or he's just in his seersucker jacket.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, everybody else gets down and moves, and he's like, hey, I'm really tall. What's going on? I'm just going to stand out here.
And for a second there, he looks like my dad from one of the angles. I was like, is that my dad there?
Walking around like, I've seen this before.
Can we find some common ground here? I hate to do the whataboutism. Don't we think this would have been covered anywhere else? I mean, 31 shots, and there were several reporters live.
Yeah.
Right? They were. It was all day coverage of the George Floyd zone. It was all day coverage of the anniversary. No one covered this. What, if only for the anti-gun angle. I mean, just listening to that, I'm willing to bet there was probably more than a 10-round magazine.
Well, you think if one person was hit, it should at least have been covered by Awful Shot magazine.
Soldier of not fortune. Soldier of unfortunate training. It is remarkable to me.
Yeah.
We were watching. I thought, oh, well, for sure this is going to be on the news. No.
Nothing.
You know CNN has a camera or a crew somewhere locally, and they actively had to cut away and be like, all right, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up.
I honestly found out it was 31 when Steven texted me this morning. There was nothing else on the news about it.
No. I saw that one tweet, and I watched CNN all morning long. Not a word.
I don't know. The FBI, they categorize mass shooting as 4 victims, I believe.
When 4 people actually hit. So this one doesn't qualify, though they tried.
Well, they're talking about mass shooting deaths.
Right.
This would qualify, I would think, at least as an attempt.
Yes.
Attempted mass shooting?
Yeah.
Is that a thing now?
I mean, if you're going to say, 3 people get killed, the FBI statistics, that could mean that, there's one magazine and the guy was a decent shot, right?
Yeah.
This is worse than the scene of Falling Down where Michael Douglas steals the Uzi. Take some shooting lessons, asshole. This is comical. It's almost like Austin Powers. It goes on for so long where the guy's being run over by the steamroller.
Right.
No, it goes on so long.
I like how the guy doing the report is like, yes, we're just going to have to be careful for some gunshots. Yes, you will have to be careful for some gunshots.
And you know what else? He is so not used to a shooting. Well, he's not used to a shooting at all, but going on this long, he forgets he's on camera. So at first he's composed like, oh, we're just going to get out of the way here. And then about a minute later, he forgets this is still going on. You're still broadcasting. He goes from, we're going to get up to, oh, shit. And you just hear the fear.
Get out of here.
He's like, it's still going.
He's an Australian guy. They're not used to guns.
No.
You can't
Well, at
find
least
a one.
at least you want your old cup of foods.
Yeah. It's just,
Whoever owns that store is just like, come on, guys, can you just stop?
Yeah.
can we just go? I yearn for the good old days of counterfeit 20s.
Yes. You guys shot 8 packs of cigarettes.
They're my best sellers. They're menthols.
man.
Please, at
Yes.
least just like aim for the Chesterfields.
Right. They're already going to take these eventually.
The guy says, what would you, the insurance cover it. What'd you have?
For health.
American Spirits? Have you seen the neighborhood? Come on.
No.
It's Cools.
And Mavericks.
Yes, and Mavericks.
The off-brand cool.
For when Cools is too special.
When you need to save 20 cents off your life.
Generic Kroger's generic spam. Okay, so this is another story. John Cena. So John Cena gave an interview, all natural, by the way. All of this matters because it ties into the Wuhan lab leak. And I want to talk about this I think it actually is a valid argument at this point when people say, well, the Constitution was written for a different time, and of course it applies to the printing press. Of course, the Second Amendment applies to current weapons. I don't think, however, the Founding Fathers could have foreseen a world in which our own government is looking out for the best interests of a foreign communist entity and is in bed with corporate media, and entertainment industry entities who grovel at the feet of China. Let's keep in mind here what John Cena did. John Cena simply in an interview mistakenly thought that Taiwan was a country, and China said, "We're not going to run your new film. We're not going to, we're going to ban you." And so he had to apologize, and he issued an apology saying, "I'm so sorry for just acknowledging the existence of Taiwan," which, by the way, the World Health Organization doesn't do either.
No,
so he learned Mandarin because he's trying to break into the Chinese market, and he issued an apology on video.
Oh, yeah?
And I think actually we do have, the subtitling wasn't correct that you saw on a lot of social media. We have that apology.
Oh, okay, good.
Right now.
你好，中国，这是叫西娜。我必须说，现在，在《速度与激情》中，我做很多采访，很多，所以在一个采访，我有一个错误，所有人问我，如果我可以用中文，速度与激情中人给我很多资讯 information。所以很多采访，很多 information， 我有一个错误，我必须说现在就是很重要，我爱更尊重中国，更中国人，我很抱歉对我的错误，对不起，我很抱歉，你必须了解，我很爱 很尊重中国跟中国人。
I'm just glad he apologized.
I'm just glad.
It's necessary.
At least he's taking ownership.
Now we know the origin of the Gremlins, the origin story.
That wasn't a lap. It was Cena.
Yeah, it was Cena.
Definitely Cena.
Not to be confused with our President Senile. There's a little bit of a difference there. It is important. Sorry, that was a Gerald joke. It's important to note that this man is a compulsive. John Cena is a compulsive liar.
Yeah.
As seen by the fact that he claims he's never used steroids.
Yes.
Performance-enhancing drugs. And I don't like the term performance-enhancing drug because if a doctor gives you any medication that is not a performance-enhancing drug, it's malpractice. Everything you take is a performance-enhancing drug. It should be. No, I'm talking about copious amounts of illegal steroids to the point that his forehead is outgrowing the skin and he might need a soft-boiled helmet. And he's like, yeah, look at me when I was 18. You can just tell that I'm all natural. Look, when I was 18, I was already big. Yeah, you're already on steroids at 18. We can see those pictures, and we can tell you that you were already on steroids, just like Brock Lesnar. And these people want you to believe them. They're compulsive liars. But John Cena is apologizing for acknowledging that Taiwan is a country. No one has a problem with that outside of communist China. And of course, our administration supports them. And of course, the World Health Organization also doesn't acknowledge Taiwan as a place. This is insane when you think about it. People go, oh, is it a big deal that Red Dawn replaced China with North Korea? Okay, not really. Oh, is it a big deal that John Cena had to apologize? Oh, I don't know. Oh, is it a big deal that YouTube doesn't allow you to speak out? I guess now we're getting into a different territory. Yeah, all of this ties in when you have government officials signing trade agreements that favor foreign nations who commit gross abuses of human rights violations, and Hollywood does their bidding. We are at a very scary point, and I do think it's you know where that. Let me put it this way, because I can't say this because we'd get in trouble because the punishment for treason is execution, and I would never want to advocate that.
Right?
Does it seem treasonous? Well, I'll tell you what. You know where it would be treasonous? China. If Jackie Chan went out and made a film that was pro-America and acknowledged Taiwan as a country, Jackie Chan wouldn't exist anymore. So China would consider it treason, but we don't have a problem with it. And you wonder why we don't believe that we're going to win wars.
I feel like foisting the Fast and Furious series on us is worse.
Yes.
I mean,
it's true.
That's really what we need to get down to. It's not his apology. It's not Taiwan. It's the fact that he's in a terrible movie that will only make money in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, and David Carradine just considered Taiwan a good time.
Right. Yes, he did. At least he went doing what he loved.
Gosh. Is it like the 10th movie? I mean, I swear, I was baffled by the fact that Fast and Furious franchise has, I think, 1 or 2 movies in the top 10 grossing all time, maybe 3.
Yeah.
And I looked at the stats. I'm like, there can't be that many stupid people in the United States. And I was right. It's all in China.
All in China.
My friend wrote the last one, and I didn't even congratulate him on the date. Swear to God.
Okay, so there's going to be some
not even a thumbs up on the text.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, good.
Hey, I like the other movies you made.
I guess in China, maybe in China, look, there obviously film is a little bit different. Maybe the Vin Diesel, here we go again. They're like, oh, so original.
It looks like he's living a free life.
Because they probably never saw Lethal Weapon films, you know, because
That's
it was
true,
pro-America in some capacity. Like, oh, here we go again. Oh, you hear? He's getting too old for this shit.
Again, every time.
You American with your raper wit.
I thought the worst part of Red Dawn was that Mexico would ever attack us. I mean, come on, that's not possible.
Did Mexico attack us in Red Dawn?
I think it was Mexico and
North Korea
and China at the beginning, and then they changed it to Mexico and North Korea.
Oh, the remake?
Yeah, I think in the remake it was still Mexico. In the original, I'm 99% sure it was Mexico. For sure it was China, but it was Mexico and China. I'm like, really? Come on, guys.
Are they just marching over like every lowrider truck where you hear the mariachi?
Like, what are these, the pawns in the attack? And you guys are just going to like throw people at us for a little bit and then clean it up?
I mean,
Red Dawn's the name of a swap meet.
They're just trying to find as many military uses for their grappling hooks and wall scalers as they can.
I saw that movie in the theater. I do not...
Red Dawn?
No, the first Fast and the Furious in 2001.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm walking out, people are like, that was awesome. And I'm seriously repeating, grappling hooks. There was grappling hooks. And then everybody was peeling out of the movie theater.
Course,
and I'm like, I hope this isn't a 10-movie franchise. I remember saying that out loud.
And you're like, well, that'll never happen. That only happens with horror films, and they're still straight to DVD. So there's no way that could. Oh, there's their egg on your face.
Yeah. Oh, they're all hits? That makes no sense.
I was pretty sure the first Red Dawn was Russians. I just looked it up. It was the Soviet Union and its Cuban and Nicaraguan allies.
Oh, I was so off.
Okay.
I thought it was Mexico.
Cuban and Nicaraguan allies. Throw these cigars.
What about the next one? What are the
Don't throw them the good ones. Throw them the ones with the short filler, second hand. They're gonna smoke it and they'll be disappointed.
I thought it was
Is
Mexico.
Soviet Union and Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah, the next one, it was supposed to be the Chinese, but they changed it to the North Koreans.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other group? Did they change that too? Anyway,
it doesn't
wrong.
matter. Okay.
I believe they
My
filmed
bad.
it in Detroit because it was,
was
they
easy
needed
enough.
it. Yeah,
Like we need a post-apocalyptic scenario, and we have no budget. Let's go to where Democrats have had unfettered rules since 1961.
wow, this is too much.
Yeah, it's too. Come on, it's a little on the nose, Detroit. All right, we said we want future. We didn't say Judge Dredd. Okay, you don't have to make the whole city the RoboCop landscape. Oh, that's just actually your city. Wow.
Oh, wow. Huh.
We thought you were keeping up appearances, love. Okay.
I didn't want no future.
Yeah. So this is something important. This ties into, we're talking about John Cena, of course, and China and the media and the entertainment industrial complex. The Biden administration, oh yeah, all natural. Because everyone is larger and leaner at 50 than they were at 25.
Yes. Just ask Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Gosh. Can I see that again? That is just that. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
Look at this right here. What is going on there?
All the veins.
Yeah.
Oh. His nipples look like milk duds that were left in the sun too long.
Oh, John.
All natural. Yeah, and the thing is, the Rock had a backstory. Look, when someone gives you a detailed report, that's how you know it's a lie. He's like,
yes.
One time my friend screwed around with it in college, and I said no, I wasn't going to touch it anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, The Rock.
I had
all.
$6 in my pocket, and I'm a millionaire. Yeah. I think you're a liar.
So the Biden administration, this is something now that everyone is allowed to talk about, that it doesn't only seem possible, but more likely that COVID came from the Wuhan lab. Remember when we were calling it the Wuhan virus, and that was considered racist?
Very much.
Which is funny because, like, what do we have to, we used to have the Spanish flu, right? We talked about that. The diseases, if they started from a specific geographic location, do we need a topographic map to be able to do this? Wuhan, we didn't say all of China, Wuhan flu. Why did Donald Trump do that? He was right to do it because he wanted to make sure that the American public and the rest of the world understood who was responsible. A Wuhan laboratory. And that was dismissed as conspiratorial. Okay? Now we know that Joe Biden actually shut down a Trump-era probe, an investigation into the Wuhan lab leak. So, publicly, you had Fauci, you had everyone else saying there's no truth to this, there's no merit to it whatsoever. Donald Trump was saying, I think there is. Why? Because there was an investigation, and he's getting those reports daily. One of the first things Biden did, came into office, shut down that probe. Wonder why? The guy who supported TPP. Wonder why? The guy who's soft on China. Wonder why? The guy who's talked about China being a great ally. Now he tries to talk a little bit tough, but he doesn't remember what he said yesterday. So yesterday, after being asked about why it was shut down, the probe, Jen Psaki, you know what she said? You know who she said should conduct the investigation?
Who?
She Pontius Pilated, washed her hands. Well, it's not the United States' job.
Okay.
Difference in worldview. Donald Trump thought it's our job to keep foreign communist entities accountable.
Right.
Jen Psaki says, no, let who do it? Here's a clip.
To follow up on some of the questions about investigations, the origins of the coronavirus. Yeah. You've spoken a lot about the need for an independent investigation. What role does the Biden administration think U.S. scientists or CDC scientists should play in that investigation?
Well, the WHO would be the body that would be overseeing a transparent, independent phase 2 investigation. That's something we have strongly supported. That would require China finally stepping up and allowing access needed to determine the origins. Of course, the United States would be supportive of that second stage of the investigation, but it would be led by an international body.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, of course, the United, it would help if China stepped up.
Yeah.
Oh, what did China say? No! Well, listen, we'll circle back. How about you don't circle back? How about we drop the Moab?
I like her dress. It looks like she just got off her tuffet.
Yes. Or she lives in a shoe.
Yes.
Don't know what to do? Use a rubber shoe, lady. That's a starting off point.
You know why they wanted to transition this from the administration to the WHO? Because they didn't think that the quality of work coming back to them was good.
Yeah, look, let me give you a little bit. So glad you set that up for me, because the World Health Organization will probably, call it a hunch, right, won't be trying to investigate China with great vigor, zeal, if you will. They tweeted this in January 2020. Preliminary investigations, this is the World Health Organization, conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus. By the way, also, the WHO is saying, Jen Psaki is saying, we're not tasked with it. Who's tasked with it? The World Health Organization. The World Health Organization, you say, okay, what's your investigation? Well, the investigation from the Chinese into themselves... Well, I thought you were running the investigation. No, it's China.
No.
China who's running the investigation. I don't know. They disappeared. They died.
I think they've killed everyone
The
who
World
found
Health
out.
Organization has already shown that they will not investigate it.
No.
That's why we need an investigation here in the United States. So again, she's acting as though there isn't that context. Like, well, it needs to be done by an international body. No, we had that information. This is not new information. We all had this information, and Donald Trump said, okay, with that information, the World Health Organization is not investigating. China cannot be counted upon to be reliable themselves, so we need to do it. And now we ask the question, with all of that information, why did you decide you no longer run the investigation? Well, because we think that the World Health already had it. Already had that info.
You remember how everybody was saying if Donald Trump had locked down the country a week earlier, how many, like, hundreds of thousands of cases we could have prevented? China knew for months that this was going on.
And we'll do a whole segment on this. There were so many lies. Remember, they also blamed the United States for spreading it?
Yeah, they said it was U.S. soldiers.
They said it was U.S. soldiers. And the World Health Organization did nothing. And hey, I wonder why China may feel emboldened. You just had John Cena. And this, by the way, he's just a proxy. All of Hollywood doing their bidding here on an unsuspecting American public. And now we have Jen Psaki saying our hands are washed of this. The World Health Organization. The World Health Organization saying, oh, you know what, to actually go to China. And China is saying, hey, by the way, World Health Organization, make sure that you carry our water. Here's an interview with one of the heads of the World Health Organization back to Taiwan, refusing to acknowledge that Taiwan exists as a nation, just in case you wondered where their allegiances lie.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership?
It's hilarious, but it's also terrifying.
I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Let's circle back.
She's like,
Have you
this
seen that
very
before, Dave?
unprofessional. Look, here's the context that matters.
Yeah.
No other nation, maybe North Korea, has a problem with acknowledging Taiwan. That is exclusively a Chinese issue.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they don't want free people. No other nation. So the World Health, it's very, very clear. It's not like there are a multitude of forces here at play with the World Health Organization. They were given in no uncertain orders. You do not acknowledge Taiwan. Also because Taiwan, keep in mind, they were blowing the whistle early on. We never listened to Taiwan. We chose to listen to China's proxies. Are you starting to see the nefarious motives here? And I'm not in the business of attributing motives. There can be no other motive. Let me know any other motivation. Please comment. We'll take your chats a little bit later. If you're there on Rumble, just comment. Maybe I'm wrong. What motive to not even acknowledge Taiwan's existence unless you're in line with China? That's the context that matters. And this is the organization in charge of investigating China, who, by the way, have said we're going to let China do it themselves.
Yeah. And you know why this matters too, Stephen? We've had the NBA already kind of bow down to these people. We've had Facebook, we've had Disney, we've had all these things happen. Mm-hmm. China sees that and says, oh, we had an agreement with Hong Kong that they could kind of have their own government. We're going to go take that back. That was their jab. They kind of flicked the jab a little bit. And they're like, oh, nobody did anything. People think within the next decade, they're going to try to take Taiwan back.
Right.
And when you have people apologizing, when you have people going out there and saying, let's let the WHO, because we don't want to interfere with anything in China, it just shows them that you're a pansy and you're not going to stand up to them if they do it. It just emboldens them.
Yeah.
And all of the Taiwan people who are free right now and living in a great country are scared to death.
Yeah.
Because nobody has got their back.
And they want you to feel bad for, and you should feel bad for anyone who's a victim of a hate crime here in the United States. It's not why you think it is as far as Asian Americans. But what about the sympathy for the actual people in a nation that could be wiped off the map?
Yeah.
I think it's best John Cena says they don't exist.
Yes, I think so as well. Gremlin releasing HGH shooting son of a bitch.
It's my understanding the Wuhan lab wouldn't sell him a bat.
Yeah. They just sold him a
knocking on
bat.
the
They just
door.
sold him a bat filled with steroids.
Ah,
Saying,
yes.
No, look, it's
natural.
it's my. You eat bat, more bioavailable.
He just grabbed everything he
uptake.
thought could be steroids. I dropped a vial over there, COVID.
He's like the Hunter Biden of steroids.
Do you have any herbal Chinese medicine for the ED? Not if you eat bat. That's not going away. Learn to read it. Pick your battles. Eat bat, no more dick work.
This one makes you say yes to Amy Schumer scripts.
Oh. No. I won't take that one.
Oh, he did. He took a lot of that one.
By the way, even Chinese state media, they're turning now on Fauci and the Wuhan lab controversy. Because it's okay now that they're far enough from Donald Trump. Oh, hold on a second. Right now on CNN, really quickly.
Police
right now,
are responding
to a shooting
They say that it
near
is still
downtown.
an active scene there.
How many
We
shots
have
fired?
no
31 or
confirmed
less?
Yeah,
information.
31 or less.
Let's
and
see.
by the way, of course, if anyone has been killed there, anyone harmed, obviously, heart goes out.
Absolutely.
But my point is, our hearts go out to everyone.
Equally.
With all of these shootings. So we know, again, right now, you're seeing this in real time. We know that CNN covers a shooting without any info, without context yet. The moment they can, they deliberately suppressed what happened to the George Floyd zone.
I guarantee you they'll include that in the mass shooting stats that they use without citing it specifically. They'll just be like, yes, there was one in, I think, Minnesota somewhere. And then also moving on.
Right, yeah, and then also
that was
in
San
rural
Jose.
Kentucky.
Yeah. What?
Some guy shooting cans on his farm fence. So look, even the media now
hunter.
to go back. Well, let's keep us updated on this. But even the media now that they're acknowledging the Wuhan lab controversy. So let's go through this really quickly. John Cena, we already see the context of the media, right? They're doing the bidding. They're carrying the water of China. Okay. We have Donald Trump there, who was kind of our one sort of guard standing between us and China, saying we need to investigate them because they're lying. They're saying there's no human-to-human transmission. They're blaming the United States soldiers. Good. Then the probe gets ended by Donald Trump, and they say the World Health Organization is the one responsible for investigating China. Same World Health Organization who, like John Cena, refuses to acknowledge Taiwan's existence. And then the World Health Organization says we're going to let China do the investigation by themselves. And you wonder why we never actually got to the root issue of how this virus started. Take your vaccine, put on your mask, don't ask questions. Also, by the way, while we're talking about totalitarian, and look at this asshole on CNN with his mask. Oh my God. While we're talking about Orwellian.
Wow, you're inside.
The number of people flying is going back up.
on
creeping towards
television.
what it was
All right,
before.
I'm sorry.
I can't. No, it's okay. It's not you. It's just CNN is aggravating me.
That mask is so tight you can see his nose.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's almost like a John Cena banana hammock. So now we have, let's
Except
add to
you can
this.
see his nose.
Let's add to this. You have the World Health Organization, an international entity, one of the most powerful governments in the world, the Chinese government. You have a complicit United States government who refuses to do an investigation. So we have media, okay. We now have the government, okay. We have international committees who have a vested interest in suppressing this information. What about the most powerful companies that have ever existed? Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google. That's the biggest one, right? YouTube, Google. They didn't say, keep in mind, that you're not allowed to spread medical misinformation. That wasn't the policy, just to be clear, on YouTube.
Right.
YouTube's policy, let me read you word for word on COVID, is YouTube doesn't allow content that spreads medical misinformation that contradicts health authorities or the World Health Organization's medical information about COVID-19. Hold on a second. Do you not allow medical misinformation, or do you not allow anyone to question the World Health Organization? Because they're not one and the same. The World Health Organization said no human-to-human transmission. So if you, in 2020, said, actually, I think there is human-to-human transmission, boom, gone, banned. Are you safer? Are you more informed? I hate to be I hope I'm not getting jaded here, and I hate to be a conspiracy theorist. It's not medical misinformation. We know beyond any shadow of a doubt, medical misinformation was being spread by the World Health Organization, amplified, and YouTube said if you went against it, that would be a strike or complete removal. Doctors were removed for questioning the World Health Organization. You think this might have affected the election? Do you know how I know there's human-to-human transmission? Because you've got an asshole on CNN right now virtue signaling with a mask after being vaccinated. And we took a hard strike on this channel, one of our guidelines, because we went against the World Health Organization. That's a scary time. That's a really, I don't think the founding fathers could have seen this amalgamate of our government, international governments, and the most powerful cultural influencers in the country, and 3, 4, 5 companies really who are more powerful than any world governments to have preceded it to have a vested interest in harming the American people in order to preserve the integrity or really prop up integrity that doesn't exist for a foreign communist nation.
Yeah. Do you know who else went against the WHO? Fauci. When he said that lockdowns were a great thing, the WHO actually came out and issued a statement saying, hey, lockdowns are probably not the best way to deal with
Then they changed their mind.
Then they're like, oh, wait a minute, you can go against the WHO.
Well, then the WHO changed their mind.
Well,
I'm sure Fauci and them had a meeting.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty. The truth is, half of this country doesn't want to think about it. They consider this great. YouTubers, people who are independent content creators who have meetings with Susan Wojcicki, not like us.
Right.
They say the good news is there are smart people like the World Health Organization and the CDC. You don't got to think about it, bruh.
The CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
He took the easy way out.
Oh. Why?
Turns out Robert Tepper was wrong. There's an easy way out.
Just do what you're told.
Right. Can you imagine being China getting that like self-fulfilling questionnaire like, okay, did you cause a global pandemic that killed millions of people, causing billions of dollars, no, trillions of dollars in damage, and are you liable for it or no?
And they filled in the blank.
No.
It came from American soldiers.
Yeah.
Sir, it's multiple choice.
That's
I
a
don't have a
write-in.
number 2 pencil.
It's like, come on. What do you think they're going to say? Like, come on, really?
And so it's a lie. Everything that they've told you is a lie, and that has resulted in more people across the globe dying. China is directly, not Donald Trump, China is directly responsible for the deaths attributed with COVID, which, by the way, I still maintain the same position, significantly lower in the United States than people make it out to be when you consider actually the context of comorbidities.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Still not a fan of lying China. Okay. Now we move on to this, something that they're lying about right now. Anti-Semitic hate crimes are taking place.
Yes.
That is
Lots.
true. Now, the media, for the longest time, wanted you to believe. Oh, that's right. Also, Mark Ruffalo. I forgot about that.
Oh,
I love him.
Mark Ruffalo had to apologize.
I don't.
You don't? I actually think he's pretty good.
I do too.
Oh, as an actor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a human being.
As a human being, he's garbage.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when he's pretending to be anybody but him.
Right. Yes.
He should do that more.
Yes.
He had to apologize because he said that Israel was a nation committing mass genocide.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we don't even need to go to the apology. But let's go to the media, who, of course, before we got to here right now, they wanted to blame all of the anti-Semitic hate crimes or rise in anti-Semitism on Donald Trump. This was the narrative they said.
And yet they deny that Trump is anti-Semitic, even though his latest comments aren't just some slip of the tongue. I mean, Trump talks to Jewish Americans as though we were
Hannah
talking to
Gatsby?
Israelis.
Is that guy being taken by his mom to a drag show?
What's the excuse for Donald Trump tweeting an anti-Semitic Star of David over a pile of cash during the 2016 campaign? He's a grown man. There are problems in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The difference is that Republicans don't hold their leaders accountable.
But when you start using language like that, then the white nationalists hear it, and it sends them a signal that it's okay for them to use language that Jews are disloyal. That's what
the anti-Semitic
he does. Just
signal.
Because more
Commissioner
than
Gordon just
three-quarters of the
broadcast a
Jewish
large
community
nose in the
chose
sky.
not to vote for President Trump is not reason for him to use the kind of language that winds up fueling the anger of white nationalists.
But that's, he's sort of like Goebbels. You say the lie long enough, keep repeating it, it becomes common knowledge.
Yes, we compared Donald Trump to Goebbels.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you something, because the one thing they tried to point to was a Star of David over a pile of cash, which was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Look, I defy you to point me to one statement from Donald Trump that was anti-Semitic. Not even of course you won't find anything that's anti-Israel, right? You'll find that exists almost exclusively in the Democratic Party. Find me any proof you can that the man who gave, I would say, an uncomfortable amount of power to his Jewish son-in-law was anti-Semitic. You can't find it. That's why they go, well, really, when he says something, it's veiled, and it's this secret anti-Semitic signal that's broadcast in the sky, and you have these white supremacists, and we haven't seen the numbers reflected yet, but we're pretty sure that Donald Trump is an anti-Semite. Anyone out there, send me anything so I can see it. As a matter of fact, you know how I know? Because we keep tabs on Antifa, we keep tabs on white supremacist groups. They were all really pissed that Donald Trump was as pro-Jewish as he was.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, how in the world do they do a segment where they say, and white supremacists hear this and they understand that they're being disloyal, and not cover Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? How is that different?
Yeah. No, they heard Donald Trump saying, we will support Israel with all our might.
Yes.
Like, we know what he's saying.
No.
Right?
What they saw was almost on day one, or what I can't remember. It was really, really soon after his presidency saying, yep, that embassy, it's going to Jerusalem.
Yeah, it's going to Jerusalem.
The eternal capital of Israel. And everyone's like,
that was proactively poking the finger in the chest of anti-Semites like Rahm Emanuel in the shower.
I got bit by so many mosquitoes because I was afraid to buy those tiki torches. I'm like, I want to get them for the yard, but people are going to think stuff.
Well, don't worry. Gerald has extra. But I told you to get citronella. It doesn't work for the mosquitoes either.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed, tall. I am screwed either way.
So let's look at Democrats while we're talking about the Donald Trump rhetoric.
Hitler's wet dream.
Compare it to rhetoric from the left. Let's just look really quickly at Ilhan Omar. Okay, you've got tweets. Big win for the BDS movement. Let's go. The reason that it looks like apartheid, talking about Israel, simply because it is apartheid. Now Biden has to push for an end to the occupation, meaning give up land to terrorists who fire rockets into civilians. Wherever you line up, again, find me even something even remotely comparable to what you see from the squad from Donald Trump. Anything. Now, of course, there's also, I think we have a montage of more anti-Semitic rhetoric, right, from the left. Okay, here you go. We have some quotes. Here's another montage.
We want to make sure that our allies are living out the same values that we push for.
Why do you support BDS? Why do you support
banging
BDS?
your brother?
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar drew criticism
What are you
after
wearing,
tweeting
brother? I'm
that
on the
U.S.
phone.
politicians support Israel
She wasn't on the
because
phone.
it's all about the Benjamins, baby.
And colleagues, Palestinians aren't going anywhere no matter how much money you send to Israel's apartheid government.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the last couple of days tweeting of Israel, quote, apartheid states aren't democracies.
Did that guy just say aparted?
Aparted.
Apartheid.
Why is her name hyphenated?
Why isn't he wearing a soft-boiled helmet?
Oh, he's...
An aparted state. And you know the thing is, he didn't know that he said that until probably he wrapped the show.
Yeah.
And someone's going, okay, good show, viewership. Well, I mean, viewership is down 70% since Donald Wilson, but that's par for the course. Also, you said a word that's not a thing. So, okay, what?
I can't throw any stones. I said Mexico and invaded in Red Dawn.
Well, that doesn't matter. That's a film narrative that nobody saw about a country no one really cares about.
Well, that's true, yes.
My aunt has paralysis. It's fine.
Now, what has happened now? This is what matters. Lies because you want to prop up victims for political gain always end up creating actual victims.
Yeah.
Okay? And now, today, there absolutely is a rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes. And I want to be clear, not anti-Israel. I think you can be anti-Israeli government or their policies for sure and not be anti-Semitic. But I want you to see these clips and understand that a lot of these attacks have nothing to do with Israel. It's just looking for Jews to beat them down in the street. And I'm willing to bet, not a lot of these folks are big Jared Kushner fans. Here you go. This is pro-Hamas activists spitting on Jewish diners. Not an Israel protest, just Jewish diners.
Oh, my God.
Fireworks going off there in New York. This is, you'll see the flags here. Someone running down a Jew with their Palestine flag.
Did that say Yana Landau?
This is in London. Of course, that's Trump country.
Are you kidding me?
This is Los Angeles. Now, this ended up being some, I think, Israeli demonstrators, and like Antifa, the Hamas Palestinian demonstrators came in and just started throwing bombs. Here you go. Now, let me be clear here. They didn't say kill Israelis and rape their daughters, which I would argue still probably crosses a line. They said kill the Jews and rape their daughters. Also, talking about Orwellian, this is how, if we were on YouTube right now, and we're not, thank you, Rumble, and of course we're on Mug Club, we'd get in more trouble for saying that they said kill the Jews and rape their daughters. There would be some auto algorithm that says, well, you said kill the Jews. And no recourse. So you're not allowed to point out the truth. It's so easy to manipulate the narrative when you can say, well, we removed Steven Crowder for anti-Semitic speech. Why? Well, he said kill the Jews. I was quoting the people who said kill all the Jews and rape their daughters. This is the problem when you've removed context and you've placed it underneath content. And you can remove anyone at any point, as we see by Taiwan. Taiwan, the original deplatformed. The OG of being deplatformed.
Yes, a
How do you
country.
deplatform an entire country? Yes, you don't actually exist.
Yeah.
What?
You don't exist. What? But I feel like I exist.
What is
I'm touching my physical body. I have a nipple like John Cena.
How do you pick when you're picking teams here, and you've got Israel and you've got the Palestinians who are doing those things? How do you side with the side that says kill all the Jews and rape their daughters?
The same way you side with China over Taiwan.
Yeah,
Gerald.
I don't understand.
Think about it. LeBron goes out and says, "You're next," about some cop who saved a young black lady from being stabbed by another young black lady. Not a peep.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Hong Kong. Not a peep. So keep in mind, again, sometimes you can argue, you take something out of context, and you can say, well, Israel did this. And okay, all right, look, I'm not saying that Israel is without fault.
Right.
But if you take it, again, in the context, you have one party who sides with communist China over Taiwan, and the international organizations who do, and sides with Hamas over the nation of Israel. Hamas, a self-identified terrorist organization who believes in the eradication of not all Israelis, all Jews, which might be the reason that in the UK, where anti-Semitism goes completely unfettered, they say kill all the Jews and rape their daughters. By the way, I don't know if you know this, anti-Semitism doesn't exist in the UK for traditional, just old white English folks. It's because of mass migration of people who come in and hate the Jews.
Well, I'm waiting for the video of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to go respectively to their states and go to the Jewish areas and say, hey, come out and support the Jewish community. You remember when everybody was worried that Donald Trump was stoking these anti-Asian things and they had to go out and support the community?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for those videos. Nancy, I'm waiting. Can you make that video for us and just make sure that everybody knows that you're against anti-Semitism?
When Donald Trump said we support Israel and wanted to put the embassy in Jerusalem, and they claimed he was anti-Semitic as Chuck Schumer did his hit from the Wailing Wall. You know, look, he wants to destroy this shit. I don't know. Back to you. Well, good enough for me. No need to fact check it.
Right. Unbelievable.
All right. By the way, subscribe to the podcast if you guys are watching here on Rumble. We're not available on YouTube right now. I think we'll be starting back next week. I'm not entirely sure. We'll keep you updated. But on Apple, Android, Spotify, you can listen to the audio version. It's a show, a live show, Monday through Thursday. 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, that's when you can tune in, so we don't lose contact with you. And Father's Day
Hit the merch shop, baby.
Crowdershop.com.
I love the one that has your face that has like the expletive that says this content is censored. That could really be just about any time.
I just can't wear a picture of my own face.
No, you can't. But
then
somebody else can.
I'd be as bad as John Cena. You know, he wears underwear with a picture of his face on the inside, just so I can feel myself.
That's putting a picture of your face.
Oh yeah, all natural. All natural. Good.
Why all the veins?
His forehead is growing like a cabinet of Dr. Caligari shot. No Dutch cinema fans?
No.
Screw you.
What are you talking about?
Tim Burton. I'll go with Tim Burton. He just copied it. It's the Dutch shot. His forehead is going like, look, people grow.
That's
of course,
true.
you get older, but your forehead doesn't go like it's a car jack. I'm all natural. You rang. Sorry, force of habit. I can't.
He looks like Arnold in Pumping Iron, but with a soft helmet.
Yes. Yeah. Who was also all natural.
Oh, vain.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least Arnold was honest about it.
Don't trust any of these people.
No.
Don't trust any of them.
And don't watch their movies. Come on.
Don't.
Don't do that.
Or the Chinese government.
Yeah, one would think.
Yeah.
All right.
But trust the WHO. That's the message.
Let's trust
Who?
Let's trust our dear leaders here.
Yeah.
Our own dear leaders here, right? Because they have our best interests at heart. Governor Whitmer, you're a fan there, Dave.
Love her.
Oh
Beautiful
my gosh,
woman.
Beautiful woman.
As beautiful on the outside as she is on the inside.
Yep.
Actually, she's much more beautiful on the outside than she is on the inside.
And if you sunbathe in front of her face, you tan twice as fast.
That's true.
It's the lake effect. So, earlier this week, Governor Whitmer apologized for violating her own COVID restrictions. So I think we have that picture. Remember, she was seen dining with several, I believe, dozen of her friends pushing tables together when other restaurateurs have obviously been fined or arrested for the same kind of practice.
You know?
And here's her.
That is
that is the epitome of a
Freudian slip. Wow.
Jorge.
Exactly. Yeah, Red Dawn.
It's totally, that is the most acceptable Freudian slip I've ever heard, though.
I swear. File it under Ellen/Elliot Page.
Yeah.
Any therapist is like, no, you were right.
Go with your gut, Stephen. Yes. Word association. First thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah. Freud is rolling over in his grave just to give me a thumbs up. Yeah. So here she is, Yeah, there you go. There she is, surrounded by her kin. Here she is apologizing for violating those rules.
It is, it was an honest mistake, and I have apologized for it. I think that we have specifically not gone forward and penalized businesses that are trying to do the right thing. It's those that have flouted and put people's safety at risk that, are the most concerning. But I don't know that there's a lot more for me to add at this point in time other than
there is.
Those former Spartans, or I guess you're a Spartan for life, who know the establishment should be aware that it's now a restaurant, and they have pretty
She
good
then takes off her wig and shows everybody her limb difference.
Yes. Her and her translator. Those hands could crack lobster claws.
That's a rough-looking woman, the translator.
Yes, translator.
Later.
So this came after, by the way, 6,000 restaurants in Michigan closed for good. And she said, we're only really worried about those who really violated safety. Do you mean doing what you do? That's exactly the point, right? Out of context, we're really more concerned about people who violated safety standards. Oh, you mean like you? But the rules don't apply to these leaders, right? Just like the rules of accountability don't apply to the World Health Organization when YouTube says don't spread medical misinformation. There's a different rule for elites than there is for you. And this is where my libertarianism has gone out the window, because we're at a point right now where there is such unfettered power and a different system of rules. And I'm not talking about taxing the rich to an unfair degree. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about politicians getting away without ever being held accountable. 6,000 restaurants permanently shut down in Michigan. And the owner, we've talked about her before, Marlena Pavlos-Hackney, was arrested for keeping her pizza shop open.
That's disgusting.
This is, and by the way, this isn't the first time Whitmer has done this. Well, hold on a second, really quickly. I want to move on with Governor Whitmer. They're covering on CNN right now the shooting. What do we know?
Coming in. One other thing is interesting is, whenever these happen, sadly, we have so much experience with this, is you try to look at some of these aerial images to see the posture of law
enforcement. Unlike yesterday, which was a slow day, I guess there wasn't a shooting. Back to you. Back to you, liar.
Posture right now, but certainly a heavy police presence there as they try to deal with the situation.
Yeah, I was going to ask for your interpretation of that very point. Josh Campbell, thanks very much. The headline there, following reports of a shooting near downtown San Jose, California, police saying it is still an active scene. CNN does not have information yet on the number of casualties. We, of course, will bring you those details as they come.
No numbers or information yet. So keep in mind, they have cut all programming with no information. Yesterday, when was it 32 shots fired at the George Floyd zone on the George Floyd anniversary, and someone was hit. There was no coverage.
It could not have been more relevant to cover that.
It couldn't have been.
You couldn't pick a day.
Why are they covering San Jose?
Just because
they probably, because it's not the George Floyd zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, the whole point is, look, the George Floyd Autonomous Zone, plenty of people have been shot there.
Yeah.
And it's been a lawless land, really, because I don't know how equivalent they are to Chaz. It's very small. But the point is, it's been a very dangerous place. On that day, we were talking about defunding the police. There was a drive-by shooting where someone circled back. For people who are just tuning in now, 32 shots fired, not a peep. And now with no information covering San Jose. It's not about you. It's not just like with the law. It's not, is the law applied? That's not the definition of a free country or a fair society. Is the law applied equally?
Yeah.
When we're talking about an unbiased media, it's not did they cover it, it's do they cover this equally? For example, yesterday when I was getting ready for the show in the morning, I always listen to CNN, and you know what? Probably not good for me long term. I'm sure I have some plaque in my frontal lobe here because of it. What they were talking about was Texas, the constitutional carry without a permit. And they were going, 50-something% of Texans are against it. Let's talk about how dangerous this is. And I'm sitting there going, hold on a second. I wish that I could sit down, and they'll never have me back on CNN, and ask them, do you think you're a real journalist? And they would say yes. Do you honestly think that you're a real unbiased? Well, sure, we're just going for the facts. And let me ask you this. Why did you start this entire segment with the premise that half the country is wrong? Why didn't you start the segment with, hey, we have half the country who support, actually more than half the country who support constitutional carry in a lot of ways, depending on how you frame the question. I don't care about Frank Luntz's sneakers. If you framed it, hey, half the country supports the ability to keep and bear arms, half the country doesn't. Let's see how this law affects Texas, and here's some pros and cons. Why? You believe you're a journalist. You started from, of course, that half the country, they're wrong. You shouldn't be allowed to carry weapons. Let's talk about what we can do to make sure people can't carry firearms. And they see themselves as journalists. I bet you they're not even aware. They didn't get in their briefing. The shooting at the George Floyd zone yesterday with 32 shots. They really think that they are, my God, journalists. I don't even think they're in on this. I don't think they're in cahoots.
Yeah.
I don't think they would hire anyone who's smart enough to know the difference.
But you know the lack of police fear that people would have to circle back during a drive-by where there's news cameras everywhere?
Right.
It's like in Boys in the Hood. It's like, where do we go? Make 4 lefts. We're going to really make sure Ricky doesn't go to college.
Yes, exactly.
You drive away.
They knew reporters were there.
Yes.
There was no fear of accountability because, like, man, maybe we should wait till like the fall of night. Man, think CNN's going to cover this shit? Break yourself, bitch. Think about it. They knew the reporters were there. That's not even the only clip. There are multiple angles. There were several reporters at the same time.
That's a terrifying reality.
It's terrifying.
And I really hope that everybody's okay here.
Of course.
I really hope. But here's the deal. I thought California, with some of the strictest gun laws in the country, was safer because of that.
You would think so.
I thought it was. I mean, they're looking at it going, well, how many people could possibly be shot? And I was like, well, 8?
Just like I would have thought that the police-free zone of George Floyd would be safer.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like if you decriminalize something, people aren't criminals. Or if you criminalize something, they're criminals.
Yeah. It's almost going back to basics. All right. Now we're going back to speak. But the good news is the people who want to enact these laws are looking out for your best interests, going back to Governor Whitmer. So here's another one. Before Memorial Day weekend.
It's in your best interest to close 6,000 restaurants.
Yeah, close 6,000 restaurants
and
arrest.
Awful bitch. Sorry, I just can't. There's no other way for me to even...
That wasn't even a Freudian slip.
That was good, Dave.
No, I
meant have said much worse.
I'm really holding back.
I know. That's why I said that was good.
Seriously, 6,000. It's just upsetting as a Michigander where so many people they didn't close because they weren't good businesses. They closed because somebody who doesn't even believe what she was telling you to do forced it on you.
Right.
And then claimed that she didn't know her own rules and accidentally broke them, or that an apology would suffice if you did break the rules. Is that your policy now?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oopsie.
Jeez.
Oh, and she's so smug about it. She's like, they have really good pizza. Yeah. She's like, just like she refused to release the info of the nursing home deaths, which are higher than anywhere in the country. I guarantee you, far worse than New York, but we don't know because she's completely unaccountable and she's not honoring the FOIA request. She's just like, did you lose your nana and your restaurant, your livelihood? Go fuck yourself. I'm the governor. That's what she thinks.
Yes,
it's not true. A mundane detail, Michael.
Did you? We were hoping for the vaccine rollout. You couldn't use your motorboat in the lake and you couldn't visit nana, so you had to Zoom her as she took her last breath. Oh, try being a female governor, okay, for a day. You'll see how hard it is. It's just amazing to me, the lack of accountability. Yeah. They don't care because it wasn't covered on CNN.
Yeah,
wasn't covered anywhere, so they don't believe that you'll know about it.
Was Nana's last breath from COVID? No, a Latin count punched her in the face.
Right, yeah. Well, how did that happen? We'll put him in a nursing home.
Well, we jammed him in there. What are you going to do?
Yeah, what happened? Well, why'd you do that? Slight cough.
By the way,
that's what we do with the Crips in Michigan. Cough, yeah. We put them in nursing homes. If they have a dry cough, we put them in, and they beat the hell out of your grandparents. It is, and the worst part is, you will have enough Americans who will reelect, enough Michiganders who will reelect Governor Whitmer. Why? Because they will not cover it. Keep in mind the coverage of this. Maybe we can bring this up later. The coverage of this picture. And even when we addressed it on air, remember I said we usually try and use liberal sources. We don't try and use conservative sources just because we know that you might not believe us if we use right-leaning sources. Doesn't mean that they're inaccurate. We provide all of our sources at louderwithcrowder.com. And for every single episode, you can see it in the description. And we try and make them as neutral as possible. But the fact is, there was an exclusive. Breitbart had the exclusive. They were the ones who uploaded the picture. Yeah. Now, no one at any point refuted the picture of Governor Whitmer flagrantly disregarding the orders that she arrested others for disregarding. Nobody disputed it. But Michigan Live, MLive, the local media felt the need to say, from a far-right website, this picture. Okay, so the image shouldn't be trusted? No, trust the word of the governor, not the image, because, it's got that guy's name on there. Okay, so let's go back to all the times. I don't even want to get into the policy, just to show you, like Dave pointed out, it's not hypocrisy, it's that Governor Whitmer doesn't believe this. She has info that you don't, just like this government has info on the World Health Organization that many of you don't, right? When the World Health Organization told all of us there's no human-to-human transmission, people in government knew that was untrue. That's why Donald Trump started an investigation. They have info that you don't. Governor Whitmer is not scared of COVID. I will make the case, allow me to present it to you today. It's not that she's a hypocrite. It's that she doesn't fear COVID the way she's demanded that you fear it, lest you be arrested. So before Memorial Day, the weekend last year, Governor Whitmer told Michiganders to be smart and remember that they were safer at home.
We owe it to all of them to do our part to keep them safe and to keep our families safe. So, mask up, Michigan.
Different translator.
Keep your guard up. I hope that you have a safe holiday weekend.
Is that Grimace?
And with that, I just ask that you remember to be smart and remember that you're safer at home.
Ah, we're safer at home. Was that because you're not in my home?
Wait, sure, there. You're going to the old ugly tray for them translators.
Yeah.
It's like they're not blind, they're deaf.
Here's that from MLive, by the way.
Oh, yeah. The photo of Whitmer and the 12 other patrons was first reported by the right-wing publication Breitbart. Oh, well, then let me dismiss it. Governor Whitmer, what do you say? It wasn't that bad. Good enough for me.
Yeah.
That's the problem, too, is they're trying to tell you not to believe it.
You're trying to tell
That's
you
exactly
not to
what
believe
they're
your
doing.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like YouTube is saying, don't trust the sources that Crowder provides publicly because we're going to remove. It's not allowed to go against the World Health Organization.
Or doctors.
Well, how do we vet the World Health Organization? We don't. We just remove you if you try and vet them. So this is what she said, stay at home. And then her husband tried to dock the boat that weekend at their summer home, violating the state travel restrictions. It's overlay H there, Tokunawan. Yeah.
Boom.
I know the guy who he called.
That's the best.
Yeah.
When it's like, well, what if I said I was married to the governor? Oh, then I would never let you dock your boat here ever.
As a matter of fact, wait, which locker is your boat in? I think I have some kerosene.
The fire going to have to start somewhere.
Tonight at 10, Charlevoix boat dock goes up in flames while naked man dances.
The Stugatz is burning.
By the way, this was at the beginning of this. This is when we knew very, very little on how this was going to go. And the guy's like, yeah, I know we can't travel to our summer homes or anything like that. Everybody should sacrifice, but really not us, right? You can get the boat, right?
By the way, I drove by. I didn't want to buy. The car was there.
Oh, at the house?
Yeah, remember I was up in northern Michigan at that point.
I remember.
I know the guy. I was at actually. There's a great cidery in Michigan called Sutton's Bay Ciders.
Yes.
Okay, and I highly
Beautiful
recommend that you
view,
guys go and support them. You can order their stuff online because they were really hit hard by the pandemic.
It is really good.
We were out by the fireplace, the fire pit, before this was reported anywhere. This is just something you're gonna have to take my word for it. Okay, hand to God. I remember a guy coming up, he's like, oh, you got a good fire there. We were talking about the trebuchet that the guy who owns the cidery was going to create so you could launch these logs of wood out into this, like he has this beautiful forest, this hilly forest, and a border collie. And he said, yeah, my, I won't say a name, but relative, my so-and-so, works over there at the dock in, I believe it was Charlevoix, that's what it was. He goes, yeah, he said the guy calls and says, you can take down, put the boat down in the water. And, he told him right now, the governor's orders, we can't put any boats in the water. He said, well, what if I told you I was the governor's husband? And, he said, well, that still wouldn't change anything. And he tried to pass it off as a joke or something. What an asshole. And he was drinking his cider. I remember that conversation. Wow. And then it was reported. So let's go to another example. Whitmer banned Michiganders, and we'll talk about Tim Tebow as we go to Mug Club.
Well, I love that. You could vacation all the way up to where's our cottage? Birch Lake. You guys can vacation all the way up to Birch Lake.
Up to Birch Lake.
Yeah, there we go. It's safe there.
Yeah, she banned the travel between residences. That was another one. And again, her husband's car was spotted outside the home in Birch Lake. I think that's the next overlay there, overlay J. Yeah. But you wouldn't want to show the picture because that would be revealing private information.
It would, yes.
So now it's important to note that Politico, they fact-checked this as false.
Oh, jeez.
Why? The why? Why? The why matters. Why? Because Whitmer told them so. Just like before, far right-wing publication has picture of Whitmer not only not socially distancing. If you lift her blazer, she has a T-shirt that says, I don't socially distance. Ha, 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 you rubes. But it was posted at Breitbart.com, so you cannot trust it. Right here. Now, what happens if anyone posts a photo of the car at the address? Gone. You doxed. So there's no way to confirm it. And then they go, Whitmer? Obviously, we wouldn't let anyone dox. Was your husband's car at the address? No. Good enough for me.
We got your back.
Fact check is false.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. She said it wasn't there, guys.
She said it wasn't there. Why? When has a woman ever lied?
Come on, ever. Believe all women, especially governors.
Yes, especially governors. And let's not forget traveling within the state.
I wish court worked like that.
Traveling within the state was limited. Traveling within the state was limited, and this was also, of course, in January. She traveled to Washington, D.C. during one of the worst COVID spikes. There you go. Well, but they have a mask.
It was important.
They have a mask. She's got a nice shawl.
It's not the insurrection.
By the way, smash that Rumble button. Thank you so much, Rumble, for allowing us to broadcast there. Well, look, hit her. Smash. Also, the Hulk's all natural.
Hey-ya!
Just like Cena. Also, don't make him angry. A little bit of halotest inserted into John Cena's scrotum. Gets him a little roid ragey. All natural.
If you get him angry, he has to sit down for 20 minutes and catch his breath.
Right. And if you breathe wrong, his paper-thin skin just splits itself.
Look, if you piss him off, just take a light jog. About half a mile later, he'll be on the ground. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Unless he's been taking EPO, he probably does that too.
You got wrestlers like Benoit that gave up everything because they took constant hits, and then you have the wrestlers like him where it's like, listen, don't even touch him. Right. Just barely touch him and fall over.
Look, we know that he's big and all natural, but he's a horrible athlete. Okay,
Yeah.
take away the drugs, the guy can't do anything. But trust him when it comes to Taiwan. He's a diplomat. Haven't you heard? John Cena. Screw that guy. So Whitmer also criticized the Michigan Snowbirds. This is I think we're at example number 3 or 4 now for traveling to Florida, and another Freudian slip.
Jeez.
She blamed them for Michigan. She blamed Florida and the Snowbirds for Michigan's COVID spike.
Well, at the end of the day, this is going to come down to whether or not everyone does their part.
It's like a photo negative of the Eddie Murphy Raw jacket.
This variant, the B117 variant, is what is growing so quickly here in Michigan. With the second most of it, then I think right after Florida. At least that was the last data that I saw. Michigan and Florida are not next to each other. But this is the time of the year that snowbirds come home from Florida, where people are going on spring break, and all of these things can contribute to spread, and that's why we're imploring people to take this seriously, mask up.
Well, thanks for that little geography lesson. That Michigan is not next to Florida. Also, they're not next to each other in death rates or case rates. You guys are way higher. I don't know about snowbirds, but let's talk about snow bitches. She went to Florida while she wasn't even vaccinated.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
believe she has a painting of Dr. Fauci behind her.
It's a pillow.
It's a pillow?
Yeah, it's a pillow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
By the way, when she said
She just sacrifices all of your jobs and economic prospects in effigy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course.
When she said this back in
she's
April,
got her phallic
2021 there,
lighthouse.
yeah, she was pointing at Florida. That was a jab at them because everybody said, "Oh, of course, DeSantis is making a mistake in Florida by having relaxed regulations and letting people open businesses." And just like Florida's struggling, I'm sorry, can you, with most recent available data? You mean you didn't look for the last month?
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking at? Like, oh, March is the most
And
recent.
what do you mean by, hold on a second. Let's define struggling.
Yeah.
Less COVID, less deaths from COVID, more hospital capacity for COVID, better economic outlook, better unemployment numbers.
Yeah.
And well, you say tomato, I say ban him, and then you're gone, and PolitiFact just fact checks you as false. By the way, she's under federal investigation for her trip to Florida, too. She chartered, and I know this again, inside baseball here, she chartered a private plane, not using private money. The cost was $26,000 or $28,000. Now, I have a friend with a plane, and this is also why I don't hate rich people. Because he's just nice and very generous.
Yeah.
Where he lets us, when we do change my minds, he lets us use the plane because it'll cost us so much to bring people out there in the gear. I know what it costs because I looked into it. I was like, oh, it's very nice. He lets us use the plane occasionally. Wonder if we could charter it. No. Very expensive. Can't afford it.
Yeah.
So we know she can't afford it, but you, the taxpayer, can afford it. Even, for the time being. We don't expect you to be a tax base forever there in Michigan with your businesses shut down.
She has to fly in styles.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we also have another.
Isn't Kwame Kilpatrick in trouble for that? Like the
very thing.
Yeah, for taking those exact trips on taxpayers' money.
Something close to that. But again, that was different. That was an era where we held the politicians somewhat accountable. And in Detroit, that's really a sliding scale. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We also have I think we have an exclusive. She actually broke her own rules while flying.
Oh.
Yeah. We actually. This is another thing no one talks about. She wasn't even wearing a mask. Yeah. No, Governor. Stockings are not a substitute for masks. No matter how striped they are.
I understand that's a private room.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a charter.
Yes.
Chartered broom.
Chartered broom.
Only the best. The Nimbus 2000.
I was very frugal. It's not like I got a jet broom. This is a turboprop. It's a turbine. Stop it. Can you stop playing that every time I enter a room? We're not bidding play anywhere.
No,
it just seems to emanate from the walls.
It's coming from you.
Yeah. What? What is that? Hold on, everyone be quiet. Oh, it is me. Guess I better trust the science, figure out where it's coming from.
Oh, my gosh.
So, throughout the pandemic, of course, Whitmer constantly asked Michiganders to socially distance. These were your rules, Michigan.
there's a price that's paid, and I know that there are a lot of businesses and people that are hurting right now. But the fact of the matter is, it's better to be 6 feet apart right now than 6 feet under. This action isn't about our individual right to gather. It's about our parents' right to live.
Does anyone have a question for Santa Claus?
Santa, do you have to wear a mask?
When I'm in my workshop with all my elves, we all are masked up and social distancing.
So many lies.
By the way, who is making her magic eye poster jackets?
Pretty bad.
If you don't stare at her, but you just stare through her, you're like, oh, it's a broomstick.
It's a pentagram, huh?
It's everything that somebody wore in the 80s.
Yes.
It's like, I need the Eddie Murphy, I need the Michael Jackson Thriller.
Yeah. Anytime her husband hears from the next room, he's like, she got a jacket without shoulder pads.
I always need shoulder pads.
I have them surgically enhanced so I can perch more readily.
Yes.
Put her on top. You know what? She'll serve a purpose. Put her on top of the historic landmark building.
Yeah.
Scare away evil spirits.
Be a nice gargoyle.
Her kitchen is just a cauldron.
People, look. PolitiFact checked it false. I do not sleep in a coffin. It's for naps only.
Or upside down.
I sleep upside down in a coffin.
Yes.
Yes, that's mostly false.
Oh, hold on a second. Before we finish up the Whitmer segment, they're still covering the shooting on CNN. Let's see what information they have compared to the shooting yesterday with 30-something shots that was broadcast live on air, and they didn't cover at all on their network.
So many shots, it's still happening.
There have been fatalities in the shooting near this Valley Transportation Authority light rail yard. We're told by the mayor that multiple people are being treated in his ward. We also know from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department that the shooter is, in their words, down. Now, we don't know if he's deceased, or he or she is deceased or injured. We don't know if this person was fired upon by law enforcement or possibly...
By the way, don't you love that he made that correction that he didn't need to make, he or she? We don't really get mad because conservatives aren't going to hold it against you, say he. And like, oh, wow, it was a woman. They'd be like, an anomaly. Don't worry, that's one for you, CNN. We all could have made that mistake.
Yeah.
But they're so concerned of making sure that they don't offend demographics of shooters, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you got to make sure you get that right.
Got to make sure it could be he or she.
If you're gunning people down, you don't want to be all like she.
Right. No, exactly. So
it's
we have
ma'am.
It's ma'am.
Them, they,
them,
there,
they,
thou,
Ellen, Elliot.
that. Abs, not real.
Go. You know what? You guys. The good thing is, though, the one silver lining, despite the fact that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Apple want you to not be able to have this information, you can go back and just search the archives. Search the words for shooting yesterday. See if CNN, MSNBC covered what happened at the George Floyd Memorial. Is it autonomous zone? Technically, the George Floyd autonomous zone. I don't know what they call it.
It was a semi-autonomous zone.
Semi-autonomous zone.
They haven't broken
at George Floyd.
Completely.
Just see if any of the nightly newscasts yesterday covered it. 32 shots fired, someone hit. We still don't really have a lot of info on what happened. Apparently, the person is still alive, so that's a good thing. Nothing. You can search for that. Now, there is a strong chance that if we talked about it on YouTube, they could say, "Ooh, you showed the shooting, and so that's against our guidelines because it's violent content, and so we're going to remove it." But this can remain up. We're at a point right now where any information can be controlled. This has nothing to do with private businesses being allowed to deny patrons when you're talking about all of these big tech platforms, especially when guess who they use? We just talked about how PolitiFact fact-checked the Governor Whitmer claim is false.
Yeah.
Which we know is true because Governor Whitmer told them so. Guess who's used in determining authoritative sources for YouTube and the social media websites? PolitiFact. That's one of them.
Oh.
Just like Washington Post, who, by the way, fact-checked false that the virus could have started from a Wuhan lab. You would have been removed 2 months ago. Fact-checked false. Governor Whitmer's husband wasn't trying to lower the boat. Well, we now know that, of course, that did happen. And these are the people who determine what content is allowed on over 90% of the digital public square. It's a really, really scary time.
Yeah, and I hope we should be able to cover this. Like, I want CNN covering what's going on in San Jose, but I also want them covering what happened yesterday. We should be able to tune into the news and get information, and right now we're getting propaganda. I guarantee you, just like what happened in Colorado, the minute this shooter's identity comes out, it will either be a media frenzy because it's a white guy, or it will almost disappear because it's not.
Right.
I'm making that call right now because that's what they do every single time. They move on to something else. I guarantee they'll just go back to Trump and he's being indicted. And we have no idea who committed the crime, but somebody had to commit a crime. And we're gonna have a grand jury, not indicted, right? We're gonna do the grand jury thing, and then just cover that the whole time.
That blonde woman at CNN always has the demeanor like her dad's questioning her boyfriend. Doesn't she?
Yeah.
She always just looks like, oh, come on. I just want to go.
Please, we're gonna be fine.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Dad, stop. It's not even your shotgun. Stop cleaning it.
I get it. You're trying to intimidate him. I already
For crying out loud.
Just fire it in the air again.
All right, Dad. He or she shot a bunch of people in San Jose.
Daddy, just pin the corsage. It's not a big deal. When you pin the corsage, you touch a tad.
Oh,
jeez.
I'm gonna go all the way if you don't stop.
Seriously.
Who am I kidding? I'm going all the way.
He's really ugly. It's gonna be a spite all the way.
Seriously. Yeah. And it'll be a really ugly baby, so just be careful.
A really ugly baby. He's a ginger. You know you don't want that in a gene pool.
I'm only going with him as a goof. I'm gonna leave him in the limo.
Yeah. In the limo hot tub. I'm not a monster. Okay. Let's go to the final. We just showed the montage of Governor Whitmer telling everyone socially distance, stay at home. What did she do? She attended, but it was suspended, of course, for her during this time, attended a crowded Black Lives Matter march. No social distancing on June 2020. By the way, not only no social distancing, she's right next to a gentleman without a mask. How much you want to bet that she didn't bring that up because he's a man of color?
Wow.
I think if that were a white guy, she would be afraid at all. Just say, put your mask on. Put your mask on. I'm the governor.
Mask. Go Tigers.
Well, put that next to what she did with the protest about, Second Amendment protest that they had around the Capitol. Remember that?
The insurrection?
No.
Where nobody was hurt and nobody... No, I'm talking about Michigan.
Oh, yeah, Michigan.
They called it an insurrection when that happened.
Really?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
wow,
they did.
They use that term pretty loosely.
They use that term pretty loosely, even for January 6th, which was not an insurrection.
Unbelievable. I think the only person killed there was an unarmed female protester.
Unarmed female, yeah. And
it was nowhere near anyone, by the way.
And by the way, I do have a problem with anyone who was being unruly and disrespected our Capitol.
Course.
Let's be clear. However, the more footage that comes out seemed like more of an actually guided tour.
Yeah, I watched the footage of her being shot yesterday, and you can ask Johnny Boy, I needed a minute after seeing that. I had no idea it was that bad.
And it's almost like it was a random shot that
Exactly.
could have hit anybody.
You mean she wasn't breaking through a window?
She did break, or people were breaking the window. I don't know if she actually broke the window, and she was climbing through, but I looked down. It was like a 50 to 75-foot hallway where nobody was between her, from what I saw, the angle I saw, so correct me if I'm wrong, nobody was between her and 75 feet down. Now, the only thing I can think of was that was the perimeter that the Secret Service set up, said, look, if anybody gets past this point, we've got to shoot. That would make sense, but I'm not sure that that's what we heard.
No. And by the way, Jen Psaki yesterday. Now, is it a lie or is it a misspeak? Because everyone wants us to accept the premise that she's smart, that she's sharp. Okay, let's accept that premise. Jen Psaki is brilliant. Psaki. But yesterday, she said multiple officers died at the insurrection.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's smart. So she's a liar. And by the way, remember.
No other option.
That was never fact-checked as false.
No.
Hey, can we search that right now? Right now, live in real time. Let's have the edit pay before we go to Mug Club only and louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club. Okay, $69 if you're students, veteran, active, military. We're going to do another 45 minutes of show, taking your chat, talking about Tim Tebow. I have no problem. I'm breaking the cardinal rule of a lawyer, where I'm asking a question I don't know the answer to. Has I keep wanting to say PolitiCheck. Has PolitiFact or Washington Post fact-checked Jen Psaki's comments that multiple officers died on January 6th as false? Right now, in real time, I have not looked this up. I do not know the answer to this question. I'm willing to bet substantially more than $1.
Yeah, me too. I think I heard yesterday when CNN was talking about it, because the Senate obviously is not going to do anything with the commission because it's this slanted thing that they don't want to look at anything that hurts them at all. Right. And it's not going to be like a legit commission. I think they ended up saying 4 deaths as a result of this. I think they're trying to say it differently.
Well, she said
so
that
they can
day.
include. Yeah, no, she did. Yes, for sure. But
and by the way, they didn't die that day.
Verbiage.
And there were no officers killed because of that.
No.
The January 6th events. Look,
And
I'll
we
say
did that
events
right
because
after.
insurrection is very different. Insurrection labels the 200, 300, 400,000 people who were there as though there was an insurrection. No, people were allowed in. I think there was a lot of chaos, a lot of miscommunications, and I think there were some bad actors, including, by the way, the Antifa protesters who we know were filming and then sold it for a large sum, which I think the money was returned. All of these things we know. Now, we don't know a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
We do know that no one was killed as a result of the protest. We do know that even Officer Sicknick was not hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. We know those things, and those were claims. I am just asking right now, because we just showed you PolitiFact, fact-checking as false, which verifiably false on PolitiFact's, on their side of the table there, that Governor Whitmer, her husband was not at their up north home.
Right, yeah.
Just because her word was there. So they will go out of their way to fact-check statements that harm Democrats as false. And what I'm asking here is a statement that we all know is verifiably false, that Jen Psaki made yesterday, that multiple officers died on January 6th. Is there any accountability? I'm just saying Snopes, PolitiFact, Washington Post. What do we have there, Tokunawan?
So this might surprise you, but no, we don't have anything.
Nothing?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Snopes, PolitiFact, Washington Post. What do you do here? What do you do? Can you imagine that? If that was your job and you're just like, well, I just took off, didn't feel like working today, so I didn't. What are you, Governor Whitmer? You're not going to fact check? This is the press secretary. She just lied. Something that has been debunked a very long time. This is not a new lie. You've had time to prepare for this lie.
Yeah.
This is already submitted to the court. You've had this evidence. Nothing? What are we about to say there, Dave?
Oh, I was just thinking of Biden making a good point about if you keep saying lie and then it's repetitive and then he's the thing.
He gave away he's like, Joe, don't say that. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stop it.
Was it gobble gobble? No, your prompter says Goebbels, but you ruined it.
But in case you're wondering, no, Biden did not grow up Psaki during a job interview. That photo was fake.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Bring up that photo. The one on the right is still pretty It's screwed up.
Yes, it is.
It's just not Psaki. It's a different person, I think.
It's just not Psaki.
It's just not Psaki.
He is simply touching the breasts of some other woman. What's the problem?
It's another ginger.
It's
so
like the Sports Illustrated cover. You know what? Well, I'm like your body paint, huh? Under boob.
There was a big girl on there. I was like, what?
Look, yeah. Turns out she's some kind of a Michigan translator. I don't know. Let me put it in. Am I threatening? Yeah, he's just groping boobs. The lady's like,
Joe.
Moo too.
I am not. Do not misconstrue this at all, because we don't know if YouTube will try and take you out for something that you say off the platform. This is not at all a threat of violence against the former Vice President of the United States. But can we all agree that if you look at the pictures of Joe Biden and you look at the videos of him sniffing and kissing children, and if you look at the pictures of him having women sitting on his lap, and that right there, if it's someone he's unfamiliar with, that he at least has behaved in a way that warrants a serious ass kicking from a husband?
Yes.
Can we at least acknowledge that? I'm not saying we put him in with the Harvey Weinsteins. I'm not saying he's a rapist. But if we're going by the Me Too standard, someone touches my wife that way, who does not know my wife, I'm going to kick his ass.
We have far more evidence that he is, at the very least, a bit of a perv than we did on Kavanaugh. And we held hearings for Kavanaugh.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you saw Snopes. He was actually not sniffing Jen Psaki in any of those pictures. They were actually children.
Yes.
Yes. It was children that looked like, oh, God, get me away from him, Dad.
And they weren't sniffs. They were butterfly kisses. So there, three Pinocchios.
You make a great point, though. We held a trial on a silly-looking woman.
Yes.
Who claimed that she got her nipple touched at a pool party in the mid-'80s.
No. She didn't know the house.
She made my nipples look like John Cena's after an Anavar injection. All natural.
Ready with that, yeah.
He's all natural. Everyone has Civil War cannonball delts in their 50s.
Yes, they do.
All right, thank you, everyone. Look, this is where this is the part where if we were on YouTube, we were going to continue. Gerald has a segment on Tim Tebow and white privilege. Hint, he's anti-Tebow. That'll surprise you, right? Cliffhanger. So we're going to talk about that. YouTube, thank you very much. It's not really YouTube. You're Rumble, and we love you, so don't take this the wrong way. But if you were YouTube, we'd say, piss off.